What's up, everybody? Welcome to Philly with John Marks on PHLY. As always, brought to you by Bet Parks and Central City Toyota. I love being in my home studio because I get to hear the Buffalo Wild Wings theme song coming out. And when I'm in the studio, I can't hear that. It's muted. So there you go. All right. We are always, as always, brought to you by Central City Toyota and Bet Parks. There's a lot of things that are going on here this morning. I am at my home studio. Normally, morning K-Red. Normally on Wednesdays, my mom comes over and she watches my 3-year-old. But my mom is unable to make it this week. So Bella is actually down here in the basement in the home studio watching Muppet Babies. So if she decides that she's going to wander over, she may do that. But this is new equipment. So if there's any technical difficulties along the way, Tyler just needs to tell me, or I'm sure you'll let him know on the live chat on YouTube. But yeah, so the setup's getting there. Late last night, I was calling Black Gritty to say, like, hey, what is up with this webcam? Why is it following me around the basement? And it does. It moves with you. It's like AI webcam or whatever. I fixed that. But anyway, speaking of Black Gritty, joining us from blackgritty.com is the before mentioned Black Gritty. Black Gritty, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, Johnny Marks. Now that I got my equipment in your home, I can spy on you at any time. Okay,
that's the other thing.
Careful. Now, be careful what you're doing. Now, you thought Big Brother was watching? Now BG's watching. So just so you know, we can hang out now. We can watch movies together. You know what I mean? You got the new equipment. We're gonna be best buds. Your beard looking crispy. Look at the line. Look at the gel. Look, oh, you look so fresh this morning, Johnny Marks. Oh, boy.
So Black Gritty recommended. He's got a great setup. He recommended the Bobo version of what he has because Black Gritty has a professional setup. I just want it to look better. So I have the wall. I love your background, how it's blurred, but I can see the window or whatever. I just have the gray wall still. So do I get a couple of shelves and put bobbleheads up there like a lot of the people do, and maybe like a book to show that I'm smart?
Yeah, or get one shelf and just put one random thing on it, like an episode, so people can try and figure out in the chat what it is. You know what I mean? It's fun stuff. I move mine around. Mine are too blurry now. I need to actually fix that because people actually do like the thing. People send me those things, the little pop things.
Yeah.
People send them to me now. I got all kinds of characters that their favorite character. I don't even know who these people are.
Who are they?
I don't know who this one is, but she's
my
cute.
Kids would probably know, right?
Yeah. So
looks like a princess.
Yep.
All right.
Isn't that Scarlet Witch?
Who's that?
I think it looks like the Scarlet Witch.
Maybe.
I think it is.
I get the box and I look at it and I know what it is.
No,
for like
maybe it's not.
2 days, and then I get rid of it.
I just saw the headband. It looked like what she had, but maybe
I have the Scarlet Witch. I have the black and white version of her, the Scarlet Witch. But again, like I said,
me too. Me too.
They pop in the mail.
I have the rainbow Scarlet Witch. I wish I had it right here to show you guys. It's really awesome. It's cool.
Next time.
Damn. All right. Well, Zach Berman is going to join us at 8:25, about 20 minutes from now, and he is he's got a lot going on right now, covering the beat for PHLY Eagles. So in a move that shocked everybody, although like I don't know, I guess it shouldn't have. But Saquon Barkley gets extended. I haven't seen because I've seen a lot of people saying like, no, well, it wasn't for cap space and then it was like, no, but some of it was for cap space or whatever. So Saquon Barkley is now the highest paid running back in NFL history. And think about how bad that is because really he's only making $20 million a year. And it's like a $40 million contract. It's not like you get these quarterbacks that are making $500 million or something like that. But it shows you how far down the running back position has come. But so, I mean, we'll talk to Zach about it. Maybe I have a bad read. I think it gets him some cap space, but really it doesn't extend Saquon Barkley into the future anymore. This is still really only a 2-year. He's got 2 years left on the contract, and if he's still good, they'll keep him. This is a reward for having a 2,000-yard season, and the Eagles being like, "Hey, this guy will go into Canton wearing an Eagle uniform if we play this right." To me, this was just a reward for the Super Bowl. Hey, you outperformed your contract. You've been amazing. We're going to give you more guaranteed money. And they did him a solid. I don't know, that's how my initial read. What about you, BG?
I 100% has something to do with the salary cap. I'm not Howie. This is what Howie does. for as much as I've criticized Howie about draft picks and stuff in the past, I know one thing. He knows money, and he knows Jeffrey Lurie's money. And anytime I see money get moved around, it's for the benefit of the team. And it always looks like it's good for the player unless you're Lane Johnson. So all I know is that this helps him do something else that he wants to do coming down the line. They don't reward you for being great. They just don't. They reward themselves by extending money for some other reason. And so wazy, woozy, wazy. So I hear what you're saying, but it helped Howie somehow. That's all I know.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely didn't hurt the team. Yeah. Essentially, they're just extending them. You put these dummy years in there. We talked about this over and over again. Yeah. Like Diana Rossini, we played the cut yesterday where she says, "Oh, well, they're interested in Myles Garrett, and they won't be able to sign their free agents because of it." Like, oh, it's just now they can't get Myles Garrett because they signed Saquon Barkley to this contract. No, it gives them financial flexibility. No doubt about it. It gives them financial flexibility. Here's my one question. And for a second, just let me play devil's advocate to it. Like, you do see what happens to the running backs the year after they have the workload that Saquon Barkley had last year. See, that's what I'm saying is that, like, you didn't need to do this. His cap number wasn't huge next year. Right? Like, you want him to get injured and break down next year. Then let's see what you think about the contract going forward. This really isn't an extension. This is more or less like, hey, here's a sweetener. Here's more money. Thank you. You get to be the distinguished, highest paid running back in NFL history. And it gives them some, like you had said, BG, it gives them some financial flexibility. It helps them on the cap. But like, I mean, listen, is Saquon Barkley going to come out in the run for 2,000 yards again next season? I'll bet the under on that. That's really hard to do, but it doesn't mean he can't have a great year. He's going to need to have a great year.
He's 100% not going to have 2,000 yards next year because it doesn't happen to anybody. But I will say this. He went through the whole year without injury. You get him back next year with that O-line. He'll put up 1,600 yards. The offense will look a little bit different. And if he doesn't get injured again, then you're already in the third year of that contract. You're like, oh, man, do I pay him another year? How long do I keep him?
Right.
4 years is the max that you'd keep Saquon Barkley at his age. That's the tippy top. That's the, hey, bro, retire as an Eagle now because anybody else is giving you junk money, you're not going to make it. So, again, I everything you said is right, but I just know how he deals. Like, he's like the dude in New York City when I go out and they got cars flipped upside down. Like, bro, I know the game. I know I'm going to lose. Whatever you think's going to happen at that table, you're losing 9 times out of 10.
Seems to have worked out that way. Jeffrey Lurie again, though, because he gets the big signing bonus. So Jeffrey Lurie once again just says, hey, yeah, here's $30-some million up front. I mean, geez. I'm just telling you, and you see that like Dallas just signed their tackle. They gave him $58 million guaranteed, their defensive tackle. So everybody around the NFL is now going to be under the pressure of these owners to be like, hey, I don't want to hear that you can't afford to play these players. They just played Saquon Barkley again. Everybody on the team's making $20+ million a year. And Jerry Jones said they can't afford Derrick Henry last year. It's unbelievable.
So the organization, I don't know if you remember the thing a couple weeks ago, they got rated as like a B organization as far as like amenities and stuff like that.
The NFLPA survey, yes.
Yeah, so, I mean, everybody's like, oh, these players over here crying broke. I mean, the owners out here throwing out checks. Yeah, he doesn't have money for a private jet because he's actually paying his players. I'm sorry, guys, that you have to fly commercial. Like, my goodness, shut up. You know what I mean? Give that man an A because he's out here spending money on what matters.
Winning Super Bowls.
Yep.
Getting all the – I mean, look at this, dude. Look at this roster that they have. And we'll talk about this A.J. Brown trade nonsense that's coming out of New England a little bit later on the show. We're going to run out of time in this first segment, which is brought to you by Glatt Hair Restoration. GlattHairMM.com, 610-980-4000. Yeah, so like, hey, listen, you rush for 2,000 yards and you win a Super Bowl, man, they give him a 20-year contract extension for all I care. Give him $1 billion. I'm not going to be happy in a year or two, maybe, but right now, man, and listen, especially after learning lessons, and this is something that Howie Roseman has shown in his NFL career as a general manager, that he learns from previous mistakes. And I don't even know if it was a mistake what they did after winning the Super Bowl in 2018, but it was also like different. And Howie talked about this. He was talking to some podcasts, and he compared the second Super Bowl to like your first Super Bowl is when you're a virgin and you have sex for the first time. You don't even know what the hell you're doing or how to act. Now they know how to act. So I'll be curious to see what Howie does, because he's got some big decisions coming up here. Does he go after Myles Garrett? So I want to play this, because again, I promised that I wouldn't attack Diana Rossini again today, but it's just so epically dumb. Her coming out, giving you absolutely nothing other than to say, "Oh yeah, everybody thinks that the Eagles are really interested in Myles Garrett, and they're not going to be able to sign their guys if they go after Myles Garrett," which is so independent of anything the Eagles are going to do in 5 days. They have no idea if the Browns are going to make Myles Garrett available, how they're going to play it, what the compensation is. This isn't getting settled anytime soon. It's just not, right? No. So an idea that you're going to do business right now solely based on Myles Garrett, and you're going to let guys leave. Like, he brought up Zach Baun's name. Really? You're going to let Zach Baun leave because you may be able to trade for Myles Garrett? It just doesn't make any sense, and she sounds foolish, but she's on with Chase Daniel. So it makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. Your boy, Chase Daniel.
Yeah, that's my buddy. Chubby Chase.
Can we get a Chase Daniel lookalike to come on and just say the dumb things that he says? It wouldn't be hard.
It wouldn't be
Guy
hard.
in his 40s, beard, short hair, white.
Super easy to find. Chubby Chase. He's out there. I've seen him at tailgates at Sixers games.
Chubby.
I always call him Chubby Chase whenever I make a video about him, and half the comments like, "Who you call?" I was like, I know the irony isn't lost on me calling somebody else Chubby. I know it's not, but it's funnier when I do it. You know what I mean? It's fat on fat crime out here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But if you can admit you're fat,
yeah,
and you know what I mean, like, you're not pretending that you know you have a great physique or you look like Jalen Hurts with your shirt off or anything. So you can make fun of other people. Yeah.
Not skinny gritty over here.
You're not Skip Bayless, who is 70 years old, but he works out like 4 hours a day before he writes his takes.
Yeah, him in that Eagles jersey, like, it's so funny. Someone's like, "Oh, you didn't talk." I was like, I don't even want to put that out into the atmosphere. It's like,
honestly,
I cannot share that picture. I'm like, certain people wearing our jersey makes me feel sick to my stomach.
Let me tell you this about Skip. I'm actually getting a kick out of it, because here's why. We know what Skip Bayless is, and it's like, all right, he's throwing out the jersey in the trash can, and he's going on First Take or the FS1 show, and he's doing his thing. Skip friggin' Bayless is 1,000% better than any of these losers that they have on FS1 right now. Any of them. Chase Daniel, Joy Taylor, Shady, and Acho, any of these losers, I'd rather watch Skip Bayless do his nonsense than watch these losers making up takes, because that's all they're doing right now. And I don't mean to throw Shady in there because Shady's an Eagle, but you know what I mean. I don't want to watch any of these guys. They suck.
And Shady's been flip-flopping. Skip is consistent. When Skip hates something, he hates it until it's unequivocally done wrong. Like, when it's wrong, he'll be like, okay, well, you know, they did win, whatever. He admits it. But he keeps his takes till he dies. These guys are like, this guy's the best player on the planet. Next day, somebody else, you just said yesterday that this guy was a great, now you just, so they have no take integrity. Like, if you're going to be a takesman,
they don't
stick to it.
No, it's not easy to be a takesman because you don't want to be hated. You don't want to sound like an idiot. To be a true takesman, you don't need to care what anybody else thinks. It's your job to present it as that's your take. Like Nick Wright. Nick Wright's a true takesman.
Yeah.
Right? And he's taking a beating because of the Eagles and the Chiefs and things like that. But true takesman, he won't come off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Chase Daniel, he couldn't wait to come off this idiot take, and then he's got to get back on it.
Oh, I always supported Jalen Hurts. Like, and you say,
shut up.
I can see you. You know, I can see you. You're on TV, bro. We got DVRs. The tape is out there. So it's fun. It's fun, especially when we're winning. It's so much better when we're winning. They got to eat all this crow, and they just backtrack on themselves. It's just amazing.
Do you give Chris Sims credit, or do you hate on him for during the Super Bowl totally backing off the Jalen Hurts can't do it thing? Because he all of a sudden had his back.
He again, biggest clown in America. You've talked so much trash about this man. And the only reason he backtracked is because he had Eagles players and coaches sitting in his face. When he was by himself, he was still talking trash. All the way up until the Eagles beat him down. And when he beat him down, I watched him, bro. He went straight to the defense. He went straight to the offensive line. And Jalen Hurts was the last one to get any kind of credit. And when he had to sit there in front of Nick Sirianni, and Nick asked Nick, well, what makes Jalen so special? And Nick went off for 4 minutes straight. Just watch his face. He is sick to his stomach. No one has ever in their life complimented him about being a great quarterback. Not even his father. He's never heard anyone dote on him that way. It made him sick to his stomach for 3.5 minutes. It was excellent TV watching. Oh, God, it felt so good.
He was squirming.
Oh, so bad. He was in trouble.
All right. So here's Adam Schefter on the Pat McAfee show. Now McAfee has this whole source thing. So what's he doing? Paying Adam Schefter to give him the heads up. So right before, just to kind of, I think that's what's happening is they're making sure he gets the information first so he can have it first on his show. It's actually smart. Pat McAfee's a genius.
Yeah,
he really is. He leveraged Aaron Rodgers. He paid him $1 million to come on a show every week. Anyway, here's Adam Schefter, the voice of reason. Normally I kill Schefter. Here's Schefter on the McAfee show talking about Myles Garrett and the Eagles.
Again, all we've known is that the Browns have been unwilling to budge. The situation with Myles is he right now is not interested in talking about an extension. And I know we've got these questions and speculation about where Myles Garrett's going to wind up. And that'll be interesting if Cleveland moves off its stance. But, I know Philly's been floated out there. I've had Eagles fans like, are we trading for Myles Garrett? Like, there are no absolutes at this time of the year. Anything is always possible. But I don't know how Philadelphia, who is going to have to pay Cam Jurgens and Jordan Davis from the class of 2022, and Jalen Carter and Nolan Swift from the class of 2023, and Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean from the class of 24, and draft and re-sign some of its own players like they're going to want to bring back Zach Vaughn. How are they finding the money, not to mention the compensation, to go out and get Myles Garrett? Like, is that real?
Yeah.
I guess things always could happen.
Howie's a dog. Howie has this.
All right, I've had enough. Yeah, he's right up until it's a combination. It's the compensation on top of you're also having to do all this stuff. Like, is it the smartest thing? As far as like Quinyon Mitchell's going into his second year, you're going to have a fifth-year option on him. You can get Myles Garrett in here for 3 years, and you don't have to pay him. Like, let's not act like they can't get Myles Garrett in here. And by the way, just for everybody, what he said there, like with Jordan Davis, because the thing I see with Jordan Davis and everybody and Eagles fans is, oh, well, they're just going to decline his fifth-year option anyway. No, they're not. If he's not great the next year or whatever, he's going into his third year or his fourth year? Jordan Davis.
Right?
Is it his fourth?
Should be his fourth.
Regardless, they traded up to get him. He's still got a massive amount of potential. He showed up in the playoffs. He hasn't been a bust. He just isn't out there a lot because he didn't get to the passer. Yeah. So, he's not a bust. If you think the Eagles are going to not re-sign him or not extend and not take that fifth-year option, you're crazy. Unless he comes out and he's really bad. Like, circumstances can change. But so Schefter's point is, hey, you're going to have to extend all these people. I get it. But if they can get Myles Garrett for what they believe is a good price via trade, they're going to get him. I think so. I don't think they're going to get him at an easy price though.
And it is a lot to give up because you got to give up the picks and a player and all that kind of stuff. The biggest problem I have right now is that Huff is on this team. Again, Howie gets all praise, but that Huff contract is a noose and an albatross around his neck. There's $50 million out there a year just going like, what are we doing? So I trust Howie with money. So we guys got to figure that out. That's the only thing that's killing me with the defense of just money that's wasted to go and get Myles Garrett. I more foresee Howie doing something in the draft and trading up to get a younger player on a rookie contract than I do going for Garrett. I see him going for potential for upside for a bigger window because there's too much smoke with the Eagles. The Browns are dumb, but they're not that dumb. They're going to be, oh, well, you want them? You guys want them? We want extra.
Right. Or we're not going to trade you. And he's going to say, trade me. And they're going to say, yeah, okay, we'll trade you, but we're not trading you for what they want to give us.
Yeah.
And then they'll pivot to another team, and then they'll work the insiders to try to stir the pot. We already know how this is going to play out.
Yeah.
It's the Browns GM's job. You're going to trade a Hall of Fame player, then still in his prime, you're going to have to get a massive haul, or you're going to say, I'm not trading you. So I believe they end up trading him. It's just a matter of where he goes and what the price is. We'll see.
It's on his fourth year. Yep. Jordan Davis.
Yeah, so the Eagles will have to make a decision on a fifth-year option, but it doesn't guarantee it. It only guarantees it against injury. So I think it's May 1st. And they'll just say, yes, we're going to exercise the fifth-year option, but then they can take that off the table. There's another date that you can. Well, we'll ask Zach Berman about it coming up here. Zach Berman, PHLY Eagles, Saquon Barkley extension. More details on that. Eagles free agency. The tampering period starts on Monday in the NFL. That is all coming up on Philly. Black Gritty in today. Don't go anywhere. Philly. All right. TrueMark Financial. You know I'm a TrueMark customer. You know it. And I wouldn't bank anywhere else. And that's legit, right? Personal, business. I walked into TrueMark and needing to open up a business checking and savings account and having no clue what's going on. And you walk in, I have a bunch of papers, I have some folders or whatever, and I didn't have exactly what I needed. And they worked with me. We went online. I got what I needed to get it started. And that's the perfect example of TrueMark Financial. And I went in, I didn't go in and say, hey, I'm on PHLY, blah, blah. I just went in as a customer. Mary Ellen, their branch manager and trooper, she was like there, but I didn't really see her. She's in meetings, and she emailed me and was like, I didn't know you were in today. I had no idea. Like, this is awesome. And I've been back many times since. So TrueMark Financial, visit TrueMark.com/PHLY, TrueMark.com/PHLY. You know, like I've been with other banks. I wouldn't go anywhere but TrueMark Financial Credit Union. TrueMark.com/PHLY. All right, talk about Rothman for a second, because if you're in pain, right? Like my wife's got a bad back, and she's been through Rothman, and she's done physical therapy and things like that, and she's improved the back, right? But when you have disc problems and not muscular problems, it's a little bit different. But it's still, she went, got it checked out. Now she knows what she's looking at, and she's making some improvements in her quality of life, right? Well, so obviously, if you need a hip, an ankle, replacement, you have an ACL injury, you have a major knee injury, Rothman Orthopedics, they have a doctor for every single body part, whether it's your knee, your ankle, your hip, and they're experts. So you know if you're going to Rothman, you're getting the best, really the best care that you're going to get anywhere. I'll say the country, but certainly in the Delaware Valley. 30 plus locations in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. So there's one near you. I have the Limerick office. They have an urgent care attached to it. I went to physical therapy there for my shoulder. It's a one-stop shop. And Rothman, I really shouldn't have to say anything else. Rothman, they're the experts. They're the industry leaders in orthopedics. Rothman.com/PHLY for more details. RothmanOrtho.com/PHLY. RothmanOrtho.com/PHLY. All right, we're back. And we are on PHLY. Why? Why? Who said that?
I don't know.
Nancy Kerrigan.
Oh wow.
Why?
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're not screaming it, so it doesn't feel the same, but you're right. Yes.
Well, it's also out of nowhere and out of context.
True story.
It was after Jeff Gillooly. For people to know who Nancy Kerrigan is, Jeff Gillooly, who was the boyfriend of a rival figure skater, Tanya Harding, clubbed her in the knee with a lead pipe. Was that during the Olympics or the Olympic trials?
I think it was a trial.
During the Olympics.
Was it?
Well, I don't.
Man,
well, regardless,
it's so long ago. It's crazy. Certain things are just like staples in history. Like as soon as you say her name, you're like, oh wow, I know what that is. Like I'm getting so old. There's so much history going on in the world.
Yeah, we're getting old.
We're getting old.
What did Fit Dad CEO put up there? I didn't see it there, Tyler. Sorry, I was.
The Browns are trash pandas and dumb Scooby McDoos that we can handle and win over at any time because Howie Roseman's a genius. I think that's what he said.
Yeah. He says, at what point do we not think the Browns are dumb with the contract they gave to Deshaun Watson? I trust Harry's brain over the Browns front office. So real fast, and Zach's going to jump on. Andrew Berry is worked under Howie here in Philly. He's been out in Cleveland. And I would say I have no idea if Andrew Berry's a good GM or not, but their ownership group is trash, is a train wreck. Jimmy Haslam, he has a reputation. And to me, I don't know if Andrew Berry wanted Watson or not. I know Howie Roseman wanted Deshaun Watson, and they couldn't make it happen. He wanted Russell Wilson too. Joining us right now, PHLY Eagles reporter, host, author. He does it all. Zach Berman. What's up, Zach?
Hey, good talking to you guys. Thanks for having me on.
So after the Eagles win a Super Bowl, do you immediately you're like, oh, now I get to write another book. the 2024, like some witty title that I couldn't come up with. Is this typically? Are you thinking about writing a book after the season we just had?
Yeah, I think that's what I'll get into that when the time's right. But I think I don't think that's a stretch of the imagination, considering the way I like to think about things. Yeah, I think that's a real possibility.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to get through free agency and the draft and everything first. So, Zach, that's the question. First of all, since we just talked about it last, Myles Garrett. Yeah, Diana Rossini's putting it out there like, oh, the Eagles aren't going to sign their players, but they're on Myles Garrett. Yet yesterday, Schefter was like, well, hey, listen, like, they got a lot of players to resign. You can't sign everybody. Where do you believe the Eagles stand right now with the idea of trading for? You would have to give them a new contract as well. But Zach, where do you believe the Eagles are with acquiring Myles Garrett from the Browns?
Yeah, I definitely would not rule it out. I do think it's going to be more difficult than it's been in past seasons. A question I asked Howie last week was, when you made these trades in the past for A.J. Brown, for Jason Peters, they were interested in Jalen Ramsey, like, were there certain parameters that had to be met in terms of where you were cap space wise, the age profile, the position profile. And he acknowledged all those things are accurate, and that it's a little more difficult for, that it's kind of not in the cards for them to do that this year. Now, I think that it's still possible, unless Myles Garrett is playing for a different team. I still think there's a distinct possibility that he comes to the Eagles for a few reasons. First off, Howie's a star hunter, like we know. Number two, he's the best defensive player in the NFL. The position priority fits the Eagles. I think there's a window here that fits the Eagles window. I don't think the Eagles would be opposed to giving up the draft pick compensation. And there are factors there. Also, Myles Garrett can help dictate the market by saying he's only going to sign an extension with Team A, Team B, Team C, right? And so that limits what the market is. But it is true what Schefter said. The Eagles aren't flush with the same space that they had before. They're already prepared to make difficult decisions. Now, the one thing I'll add is I think extending Saquon yesterday, from my perspective, gives them a better chance of going after a guy like Myles Garrett, because in the locker room, it's not like Saquon saying, why didn't you take care of me before you took care of someone else? Saquon Barkley was the offensive player of the year. So I actually think yesterday's move makes me think even more that Myles Garrett's a possibility.
So let me ask you about that. Why do the Eagles do it? He had 2 years left on his contract. It's not like he didn't have any guaranteed money left. Yeah. Do you believe this is part financial flexibility and, hey, you outperformed your contract, we won the Super Bowl last year, we want to make sure that you are happy, and we're letting you know, hey, we love you and we're happy to have you here?
Yeah, it's good. It's a great question. I think the second part there is probably more what it is. They're rewarding him, but also, look, the Eagles are looking out for themselves here too, and they recognize. So Saquon has had 2 years left, but he only had 1 year of guaranteed money. So this entire season would, he would go into off season. He would go into next off season without the guaranteed money on his deal. When he signed it, it looked like a 2-year contract, right? So now he outperforms that deal. He's the offensive player of the year, 2,000 yards. And if there's any type of regression this year, which you have to assume there's going to be, I mean, they got probably the best possible outcome last year, right? It creates an uneasy situation going into the next offseason. So they took care of their guy ahead of time, and they showed that he's going to be here beyond this year, I think, which is probably important for Saquon. And I think, too, they're getting ahead of the market. James Cook is going to get paid. I think, you look 2 years from now, I imagine Bijan's going to get paid, right? And so I think that the price for Saquon is not going to go down if the Eagles want to keep him. Now, he could have a bad year and depress the market, but I think that, or I should say depress his value, but I think this is the Eagles getting ahead of it as well.
So, Zach, I need you to help me out here. Johnny Marks, tell Johnny Marks I've outperformed my contract and I need a raise too. Because if that's the case, then why isn't Bond out here getting some bonus money? You know what I mean? He went from practice guy to like defensive player of the year, trying to hand it. Like I'm just saying, like, we're out here just giving out checks because you did a good job. The NFL just doesn't do that. So, Zach, first of all, tell Johnny Marks he should pay me more money because I'm worth it. And secondly, tell me why we're not giving Zach wants some money then. He should add money ASAP. We're just giving out money for being a good boy.
Hey, I hear you, Black Gritty. If Vince or Anthony are watching this, tell them the same. I think I outperformed my contract too. No, I'm joking. No. In all seriousness, Zach Bond last year was, he was. The Eagles weren't giving out in-season extensions last year during the season. He was on a 1-year deal. I think the Eagles are they're doing everything they can to try to keep Zach Bond right now, and I think that's their top priority this offseason. But last year, as far as during the year, Howie would tell you it probably would have helped them out giving him a deal during the year. They didn't want to give out extensions during the season for this reason, because if you give Bond an extension during the season, what does Milton Williams say? What does Josh Sweat say? They did the same thing back in 2022, but it probably could have helped them to pay Bond last year.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to go for that much money, honestly. Like now the market's going crazy about it, but I felt like he was going to be around $10 million a year, something like that. But now he won the Super Bowl, that number might go up. I had it capped at like $10 million for the performance that he did, but now with the Super Bowl, it might go up. We'll see.
Yeah, you and I are worlds apart there. I mean, I think this is going to be 15 million plus.
Because like I said, we won the Super Bowl, so now my numbers out of the water.
Yeah.
Pre-Super Bowl, just on the run he had for the season, I'm like, 10 mil, we'll see. If it's 15 million, that's going to be stretching a lot. Oh man, that makes me feel bad. Don't be right. Be wrong.
So here's my question. 15 million is one thing, but really it's like, what's the guaranteed money? We talking about like 28 million guaranteed. So really Zach, it ends up being a 2-year contract. And then he's never going to see the 3-year of the current. If they want to bring him back, they're going to have to extend them because they'll redo the contract. You think that's what? Because that's what I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be around 15 million, and I think he gets about close to $30 million guaranteed.
Yeah, I might go a little higher on the guaranteed money. I do think it's going to be a 3-year deal with 2 years guaranteed, basically. That'll take him through his age 29 season. I think he'll be the highest paid linebacker in franchise history by far. This is the thing. I think he's going to get paid like a top 5 linebacker based on the year that he had and based on the fit in the defense. And it would surprise me if he comes in below Matt Milano from Buffalo, who signed an extension 2 years ago, similar age profile. That was 14 million. So just based on being 2 years later, where the cap is, I think that's the floor. I could have the wrong read on this valuation, but that's my perspective on it.
So like Gritty was saying, that like you got to save money somewhere. And I look at Mekhi Becton and that guard position as where you could save money as opposed to paying him $10 to $12 million a year. You sign the next Becton, you let Steen compete for a job against a veteran that comes in. But Slay is going to be released according to reports,
he is,
after June 1st. It was also put out there by a couple people that the Eagles do have interest in bringing him back, but the price would have to come down. What's your read on that situation? What are the chances that you think Slay is back with the Eagles maybe for one more year?
Yeah, I'm not expecting Slay to be back. Now, if Slay doesn't have a market elsewhere and he's willing to play for much lower pay, I wouldn't rule it out. But I actually think he's going to find better money and opportunity elsewhere. That's just my read on it. I think the Eagles were ready to move on from here, and I think Slay understood it too. I think Slay going in to that championship game expected that to be his final game in Philly. As far as Becton, I think Becton is only back on a team-friendly deal. They like Becton, great age profile, position they value, but I don't know if they view Becton as $8 million better than Tyler Steen, number one. And number two, the Eagles are going to sign Cam Jurgens to a contract extension. You can't have 5 guys on your offensive line all making $10 million plus, right? That's probably not feasible. So at one of those spots, you're going to have a guy on a rookie deal or on a low-cost deal, and I think right guard is that spot.
All right, so it sounds like you think that Becton, more likely than not, leaves.
Yes,
I'm in the same boat with you. I think it's not normally. A lot of times you don't realize what the Eagles are up to, and maybe I'm totally off. It seems like that they have priority on Bond, that Milton Williams and Josh Sweat, outside of them not having a big market, which I don't think anybody believes, are gone. And then Becton's, depending on what the market is, they would bring him back, but they're not going to pay $10 million a year for him.
Yeah, you and I are on the same wavelength there. I think that going into this offseason, they're prepared for exits here. They're prepared. They're prepared for comp picks. I mean, Jeffrey Lurie already said that. Howie Roseman last week at the Combine, I think, was preparing fans for this likelihood that there's going to be more players going out than coming in, and that when they add players, it might be after the draft, similar to Becton last year. It might be, lower cost guys. There could be, we talked about the Myles Garrett trade. It might not be something that materializes on March 10th. So I think that when he was talking about patience from fans, it's because this could be a slow developing offseason. And also they're ready to turn some of these big spots over to younger players. I think Moro Ojima is going to have a bigger role next year. Alex Hunt's going to have a bigger role next year. Keatley Ringo is going to have a bigger role next year. I certainly think there are spots here across the roster where they're going to trust a draft and develop.
I've never been the type of person that's like hometown discount fan player type thing, because I know it's not real. But Mekhi Becton is the only player in my life that I felt like is going to take a hometown discount. The career that he had and what he went through to have some kind of success and to go to Stoughton University and just be happy. There's something to being happy. When I hear that man talk, when I look at the look on his face, and I've watched him growing up, like, man, sometimes taking less money so you can be happy. I mean, it's cheaper to keep her. That's all I'm saying, Mekhi. It's cheaper to keep her. You know what I'm saying? Don't get divorced. Stay where you're happy, brother. Stay where you want to, and take that hometown discount. I know I never say that because go get your money, players. But my goodness, stay where you're happy. It ain't like this everywhere else in the world. Stoughton ain't owning trees everywhere. You know what I mean? He don't have a tree. Here.
To your point, we had Vinny Curry on our show on Monday, and he was talking about just that. He was talking about the amount of players who leave Philly and regret it. And he said when he was in the Tampa airport, he was like, man, what am I doing here? Right. And so, look, every player has to make the decision that's best for them. The same in our line of work. Right. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things those guys have to consider for sure.
All right. So what's the coverage like? What's the rest of the week on PHLY Eagles? And then listen, the tampering period starts, but all weekend there's going to be more tampering that's going on. What do you guys got going on?
Yeah, so we're in the middle of a 64-player bracket to narrow down on the most likely free agent the Eagles are going to sign. We started that yesterday with Fran and Bo. We'll pick that up again today. We got our free agency breakdowns for the rest of the week. We have like a marathon episode next week when the tampering period begins. Coverage all week on allphly.com. I had a story out this week, my 25-step plan if I were Howie Roseman. Bo Wolf had his top 100 free agents for the Eagles. So you're not finding better offseason coverage anywhere right now.
It's a lot of work they're doing, Black Gritty. I don't do nearly as much work as these guys.
I'm just
whatever you're doing is working.
That's why ZB's the best. You know what I mean? His drip's always fresh. You know what I mean? Keep the kid lined up, crazy. You know what I mean? So he's out here doing the good work.
I appreciate that. That's my wife. She deserves credit for any of the clothes.
All right, listen, we'll be watching and we'll talk to you next week. All right.
Thanks, guys. Anytime.
See you.
There he is, Zach Berman, who will have a Eagles Super Bowl book probably by August. You think is that when they get it ready for before the season?
I don't even know if he's gonna have time. Howie's out here wheeling and dealing every day. I don't know if there's free time after a Super Bowl win to get a book in. I don't know if there's really time to get the book in.
Well, Doug did it.
Yeah, he did.
Remember?
Out for him because he crammed that book in here. Should have been cramming in some other stuff.
Remember, he was like, wasn't he like lead? Wasn't he not at a day of training camp because he was because he was pimping his book or something?
Yep, he's out doing his book signing promotion tour or whatever. So,
all right. So listen, like I had said earlier, this is technical difficulties may happen. I have a 3-year-old running around down in the basement, but my mic stand finally has went limp. And it's something that I need to do, like not while I'm on the air.
We might need to get a new sponsor for that to help.
BG, BG, John complains all the time about the mics in the studio and how they don't work and blah blah blah. And now I'm starting to think John's the problem.
He might have. He's got performance problems. You know what I mean? He can't. Everywhere he goes, it's just limp mics out here. I'm just saying.
I got it.
It might be a you problem. TZ might be on to something.
It's always a me problem, and I know it. Always a me problem. All right, so check this out. Coming back, final segment. there's been something that's going on in New England and Boston for it goes back even a couple of weeks or maybe even a month or so. Right when Mike Vrabel was hired, he was asked about AJ Brown. He didn't even answer and say, yeah, they're going to try to trade for AJ Brown. And now everybody in Boston thinks the Eagles are trading AJ Brown to the Patriots and that he's readily available. Yeah. We'll discuss that. And we'll play the sound coming up as well. And a longtime sports juggernaut is ending its run coming up here next month or in May. We'll talk about that. Philly, John Marks, PHLY, why? That's right. So listen, Glad Hair Restoration. You know that I talk about Glad Hair pretty much every day here, talking about Glad Hair Restoration. And they are the experts in the industry if you're talking about hair loss. All right. So maybe you don't care. Maybe you're like, you know what? I'm going bald. I don't care. I'll leave it. I'll shave my head. Or maybe you're like many of the people out there, guys out there that do care and are saying to themselves like, well, Mark's hair looks pretty good. And like, I don't know, like, is it really that easy? It's that easy. It's not often in life that you are presented with an opportunity or presented with something and it exceeds your expectation. And that was when I had a hair restoration with Glad Hair Restoration. So it's like, all right, like it seems easy enough, but like, what's it really going to be like the end result? And the end result's amazing. So if you're interested, you want more information, so it's not just about hair restoration, it's about innovation, a lot of things out there to help you with hair loss. 610-980-4000, 610-980-4000, GladHairMM.com. All right. Parks Casino, my casino of choice. You know that. Thousands of slots, table games, a state-of-the-art sports book, beautiful poker room. Poker, back when I played poker, I don't know how long ago was that craze? Like 15 years ago, whatever it was. Parks Poker Room's awesome. And there's pros up there. You'll see pros up there all the time that you see on TV. A collection of award-winning restaurants. Parks Casino, this is how you win. Pennsylvania's #1 casino. Sky to McCreary's coming up on Friday night. I know Black Greedy and his daughter probably getting ready for it. That's coming up Friday night. Michael Carbonero, the famous magician, coming up Saturday night, March 8th. March 22nd, country superstar Lee Brice. Larry the Cable Guy, the comedian. May 16th, Trevor Wallace in June. Mark Norman in July. And don't forget, before the show, dinner and drinks. The dining choices at Parks Casino is amazing. And, of course, the Bet Parks app. It's the only place I would ever even consider putting something on the birds. ParksCasino.com to buy tickets for all shows. Parks Casino, this is how you win. You must be 21. Gambling problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, well, there you go. Black Beauty, do you have a gambling problem?
Do not have a gambling problem.
So you don't have to call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Not today. I'm good. I'm all right. Why am I twitching? What's going on?
Right.
Not have a gambling problem. We're good.
I do not have a gambling problem. I have many problems, but gambling luckily isn't one of them, or at least a problem.
And
I
saved so much on my gambling insurance because the Sixers are trash. So I haven't had to spend any money right now. I'm waiting for baseball to pop off so I can get back in the game. It's
coming. All right. So it was a really weird thing. Well, this was Tyler. I don't know if you remember this or not. I don't even know if we played it. No, we didn't, because I was looking for it. So here's what happens, Black Ready. A lot of times I'll read something and I'll be like, I got to get that audio. And sometimes it's not out there yet, or it's out there, but it hasn't been publicized, right? So Mike Vrabel went on WEEI, went on their morning show. And everything up there right now with the Patriots is the Patriots are going to get a wide receiver for their young quarterback, Drake May. And they're going to go out and they're going to trade, they're going to trade 8 first-round draft picks to get whoever. So that's what they're doing right now, even though their offensive line sucks and they need talent across the board, right? But I do think that for the not the white wide receiver, for the right wide receiver, they would trade a significant draft pick to get him. So Mike Vrabel coached AJ Brown in Tennessee. So there's dots trying to be connected. And the host asked him about AJ Brown and a trade, and didn't even say, are you going to try to trade for AJ Brown? Talked about like, hey, you're going to try to acquire a veteran wide receiver. And, you coached AJ Brown. And he didn't even say, oh, yeah, we're interested in AJ Brown. He gave a coach speak nonsense answer. And they talked about how AJ is a great guy and he's happy for him.
Yeah.
That turned into, oh, Vrabel wants to trade for A.J. Brown, which was never said. And now it's turned into this. This is on WEEI yesterday. Tom Curran, who is a longtime Boston Patriots insider. And he's now kind of like, I don't want to say the Ray Dininger, but he's like the younger Ray Dininger. He's the insider on their Comcast Sportsnet or their NBC Sports Boston. And I can tell you he's legit. He is very, very good. Here's Tom Curran. He's asked about the A.J. Brown nonsense. Here it is.
You know, with all the different receiver names that are out there and T. Higgins getting tagged and, you know, potential trade options, is the dream dead for A.J. Brown? I know he just won the Super Bowl, but he is the most connected to Mike Vrabel. It's a crazy offseason. Could that happen?
I love A.J. Brown, and I love the fact that you actually are sensible enough to go back to A.J. Brown instead of barking up the T. Higgins, DK Metcalf, both and Ayuk, who are just not going to happen. A.J. Brown is a much more reasonable get. Why would the Eagles divorce themselves from him? I don't know exactly but I think that's reasonable. I also think Devontae Adams and Chris Godwin are very reasonable.
All right. I wanted to stop you there, but I let him finish. Is he on drugs?
Yes.
So he's telling me the players that are actually on the trade market, if you believe that Ayuk is available, I believe Ayuk is available. I wouldn't trade for him because I don't think he's worth it. DK Metcalf, isn't it pretty well known that the Seahawks are shopping him?
Yep.
So why is that unreasonable to think that you could trade a first-round draft pick or a second and more and get a guy that's on the trade market? What's the other? T. Higgins. They're franchising T. Higgins. The Bengals probably are dumb enough to keep him on a franchise tag and sign Jamar Chase. They can't do it. Doesn't it make – I would trade T. Higgins. I wouldn't re-sign T. Higgins if I was the Bengals. The Bengals suck. Like, they can't fit that in. They're not willing to spend the money on his contract. They should trade him and get a first-round draft pick from a sucker team like the Patriots. What is he talking about?
Colin Cowherd said the same thing. And these people talk about things that they don't understand. Was A.J. Brown frustrated with Jalen Hurts? Yes. But are they not like best friends and happy to be together and people fight and argue? Yes. Did they not just win a Super Bowl? Didn't he get his contract? Why would he want to leave here knowing that he has another chance to at least go to another Super Bowl, to go to the Patriots where he's never going to win anything? Because he was out there in Tennessee, and the best they ever had was one shining moment to get to an AFC Conference Championship and get blown out with a mediocre quarterback. He wouldn't want to go in the first place, besides all the other things about the trade. He loves Mike Vrabel so much. He loves it so much. He just went on about his way and didn't care and fight to stay in Tennessee, while Vrabel cried about it on national television when the trade went live. No reason on God's green earth does he want to go play and be in New England. It's so embarrassing for these people. Desperate is what it is. Desperate.
Yeah, the Patriots aren't a destination city. They won those Super Bowls. Tom Brady, Bill Belichick. There's been a number of players that have went to. Didn't Calvin really go to Jacksonville over New England, over the Patriots? Players don't want to play there. So A.J. Brown's going to go from a Super Bowl winning team, and yes, maybe he's not the player on this team that he would be on another team, but he wants to go from a team that just wants the Super Bowl in a city that loves him. Yes. This guy will be a hero forever in Philadelphia on a team that could win another Super Bowl this year, to go play for a terrible rebuilding team with a young quarterback. Now, BG, if this was hey, he wants to go to, I'm trying to think of a good team that needs a wide receiver. Go play with Patrick Mahomes. Go play with Josh Allen. Go play with Justin Herbert in Los Angeles. If this is being talked about like, hey, he's really not happy, and like, okay, that would make a lot more sense. Why the hell would A.J. Brown go to New England rather than be here? Why would he talk his way out of town here? Why would Howie Roseman trade him right now? They just won the Super Bowl.
And
that makes sense.
And he just redid his contract. It's not like this guy's in the last year or two of his contract. They just gave him an extra $100 million. So what are we talking about?
And there's a big cap penalty if they were to trade him at this point. No, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. It's so dumb.
Waste of time, waste of space, brain cells. Use them. Stop doing drugs.
And Tommy Curran, he doesn't sound like he knows. Like, he doesn't sound like he has a clue with what he's talking, because he doesn't. The guys that are on the trade market are reasonable. Okay, they're unreasonable, but AJ Brown is more reasonable than DK Metcalf, who's on the trade market. And they're going to end up getting Chris Godwin or somebody.
Yeah, and not for nothing, like as a general comp, Metcalf and Brown are essentially, they could be the same guy for you if you're in the right system. Like they're both studs on the outside or one-on-one nightmares for a player. They both dominate over the middle. Like they both are physical guys. Like, so if you couldn't, a poor man's AJ Brown, DJ Metcalf, oh, so sorry for you that's what you go get that's actually available. I mean, make it make sense.
Yeah, Randy puts up there's over $60 million in dead cap. They trade him. Yeah, like it doesn't, there's none of it makes sense. There's not one thing. And I get it. Your NFL franchise, there's rumors that are out there. It doesn't matter if it makes sense or the team would actually do it. You just say it and everybody goes, yeah, trade for AJ Brown. So Tyler, something Zach brought up during his interview was paying Saquon, making him happy, right? So Saquon's going to be happy. Does this mean, and I can bring this up from post Super Bowl, a lot of guys were unhappy. Nelson Aguilar wanted his bag. He didn't get it. He was unhappy. That caused major issues in the locker room. Alshon Jeffrey got a new contract. Nelson Aguilar was pissed. Like, guys want to get paid, and when you decide, well, you're getting paid, but you're not getting paid, it pisses people off. I saw Elliott bring up CJGJ's name, and he said if he was his agent, I'd be calling the Eagles right now and saying, hey, you're giving out new contracts? Awesome. Where's the ticket? Like you're at the meat counter at Wegmans. Where's the ticket? What number am I? Because guess what? He's been a really important piece of this defense. Like he brings a swagger and an athleticism, and he's good against the run. He's excellent against the pass. I'd be calling him and saying, hey, where's my new contract? Do you worry about paying one guy and not paying and rewarding some other guys? Potential problem here with this.
Listen, every agent's going to call, right? The year after you win the Super Bowl, the offseason year after you win the Super Bowl, or if there's individual performances that exceeded expectations, right? Like our expectation of Saquon Barkley was to be a complete back, a 3-down back, easy going to clear 1,000 yards. He's going to make this offense so multidimensional. And somehow, despite all of our expectations of what Saquon Barkley was going to do, he exceeded them. 2,000 yards, NFL Offensive Player of the Year now candidate, MVP candidate, wins a Super Bowl in his first season, really kind of makes this offense churn and allows for Jalen Hurts to play mistake-free football, allows for Jalen Hurts to be comfortable as a quarterback, allows for the offensive line to play out in space. Everything that Saquon Barkley did exceeded expectations, even with the loftiest of expectations.
Oh, for sure. Like, listen, like the Tyler, I agree with, like, I'm fine with them doing it. I'm just saying, what do you do if the other guy comes and says, hey, I need more money?
I think
right?
that's where the unfortunate, it's a business portion of it comes in, right? Feelings are involved because people are involved, right? So people are not robots. People have emotions. People have feelings. Of course, somebody is going to say, hey, I think I played well. I should get a contract extension too. But I think you have to do this in a objective, smart way to say Saquon is probably of the utmost deserving nature of getting that extension. We're thinking about Cam Jurgens, who is our all pro type center. We're thinking about this player, this player, this player. There's a list of guys, and at some point,
yeah, CJGJ, you could say that to CJGJ. He'd be fine with it. He'd be like, oh yeah, you're right. I'm worried about you re-signing Cam. You're gonna have Sky. I guess here's my point. And then I'll let you talk, Blackity. There's going to be guys that are unhappy, whether or not they're coming out publicly and saying it. I can just say this from watching the first Super Bowl. This changes people. Winning a championship changes people, whether they know it or not, whether good or bad or whatever. You're walking back in as a Super Bowl champion. That's different. You're a Super Bowl champion. Now, like CJ, like ultimately it may not matter because I think you can make the case like, hey, you're making like CJGJ is making more money, maybe making more money than Saquon was, right? Like it's a correction for a guy that deserves it. Guys want to get their bag. It's why you're going to see guys leave in free agency. They want to get paid.
So I got, hold on a second. I got a call from CJ. Rays. Yeah. The award show. Were you at it? Did you get anything? Were you nominated? Did you come in third place for anything? No? Cool. All right. Well, I'll talk to you later. Next year, work on that award show. And we'll worry about that bonus when you get an award, when you get nominated, because the dude was out here OP Player of the Year or MVP. Like that's how the conversation Howie's going. Howie's picking up the phone call like, what awards you win again? What second place? Third place? Oh, you weren't in the vote? and they hang up and then answer the next call. Like, come on. I know everybody wants their money, but Saquon out here, all the things and accolades that he accomplished, he gets a caveat of that. Everybody else, what are you bringing to the table with asking me for money? Because the whole team won the Super Bowl. Everybody's saying that. So that's where I start my conversation on when somebody comes to me talking about, I want a new contract. Hey, look, where's the awards at? Show me where you're nominated. If you're nominated, I'm going to talk to you. If you ain't even been nominated.
Like Zach Vaughn. Zach Vaughn, hey, we wouldn't normally pay a linebacker $15 million a year. We're going to pay you $15 million a year.
Exactly. And that's how the conversation goes, Johnny Marks. That is the conversation. Otherwise,
by the way,
me. Like,
put Frank's comment up there for a second. You said, who cares? I'm just telling you, some players are probably going to care.
Oh,
that's all I'm saying. I don't care. I'm not Howie Roseman. I have to deal with their agent. And ultimately, it's like Howie needs to be like, hey, listen, I hear you, but Saquon was Saquon, right? And you're getting. And here's the other thing: everybody on this team's getting paid. Everybody's got a bag on this team. So you know what? Be happy you're here and winning and making a lot of money, and everybody loves you. And you'll be able to, if you want to do promotional stuff here or work on TV, you can do whatever you want. You can live your rest of your life, get paid. Rest of your life.
And just to be fair, unless you're a Patriot, every other team that wins the Super Bowl, the players care. Tyreek Hill's not in Kansas City anymore because he cared. Okay. We went out here, we had a shrine to a backup quarterback. You know how many people cared about that in the locker room? A lot of people care, bro. So, I mean, when you say who cares, everybody cares. We're not us. I'm talking about the players. Everybody cares. Everybody wants their slice of the pie. Everybody wants a book deal, a Canes deal, or a ba-da-ba-ba-ba, I'm loving it McDonald's commercial. So everybody cares, bro. Everybody. But they want their money.
I want my money from the Eagles. Should I get it?
I'm trying to work on something, Johnny Marks. You know what I mean?
They should get. We need our bag as well.
We do need our bag.
And we ran out of time. Tyler, this is something that we can talk about tomorrow. Around the Horn is wrapping up the show May 23rd, and it's definitely it's an OG. Yeah, you have Pardon the Interruption, and you have Around the Horn.
Yeah, I know we'll probably talk more about it tomorrow, but like
and by the way, hang on. Everybody watching on TV, switch on over to allphly.com to watch the rest of the show. Go ahead.
We spent a lot of time talking about analysts who are takesmen and people who just kind of say things to say things, right? I think with Around the Horn and with PTI for the most part, especially in its like peak time, that just felt like it was objective sports talk. It felt like it was just really well thought out, smart sports conversation for the most part. Listen, sometimes people said stuff you disagreed with, but it wasn't like insane, off the wall comments about, is a player the best player or the worst player ever? And there's no in between. I thought for the most part, in their heydays, PTI and Around the Horn were two of the best sports talk shows around.
I agree. And the fact that they had a rotating carousel of people allowed them to not have to become takesmen. You aren't on there every day going back and forth against yourself. And they kept receipts. Like you would get deducted points because you're like, oh, last week didn't you say bap, 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 bap? So the receipts were kept in live real time. So I'm gonna miss the show. I too fell off watching it. A lot of the TV shows I don't watch anymore. But I will miss it when it's gone.
Yeah. It's also like when you do turn it on today, it's like, who are these people that they have on the show?
Yeah, it doesn't feel the same.
It from the Woody page and the it's just the original because it was Max before it was this Tony Reality and Max, that was Max's original show and he was very good at it.
Yep. Times are changing, Johnny Marks. Now everybody's online with us.
So hold on, what do I have? What is that? That's the microphone that you can see. Daily News Live, Marcus Hayes wrestling with Michael Barkan, Daily News Live. I'll watch that. When they changed it to Philly Sports Talk, I was like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah.
This isn't Stan Hochman back in the original day. It was awesome. All right, so Black Gritty, I'm trying to, so this web camera, the new web camera that I have will follow me, but I turned that off. You have to put your thumbs up and then it knows not to follow you. I think if I put my hand up like that,
that's when it follows you.
I think that's how you thumbs down.
See, I forget. I have it because mine just is always set to auto track, and I forget how to turn it off because that's on my other computer. So I was like, I can't even look at the instructions. But I might actually get the one you have and put it over here as a backup because yours is looking pretty clean, and you don't even have the light on.
Good.
Yeah, it looks really good.
No, I don't have the. No, I don't have the good light.
Yeah,
that's correct.
I mean,
It came. Yeah, it came used, and it wasn't supposed, or it came like it was obviously returned because it wasn't in the package, the original package. Like, hang on, what's going on? That was missing some hardware, so that sucker's going back to Amazon.
When I'm on with you, I got to remember to stop wearing black so I don't look like a floating head. So I was like, oh, you got a floating head out here, so I got to either change my lighting up like this, or I got to wear white because I am blacked out. I'm all blacked out, so it does look like I'm just out here floating.
You are. Oh, so there is a body. I just thought you.
Nope, just a head. Just floating out here, all brains. So,
all right. Blackbeard, I already know you are, but make sure you're subscribed to all PHLY Daily, all PHLY.com for PHLY Daily. It is your sports page. It's like your Philadelphia Daily News. I was talking about this yesterday with Tyler, that they put the Daily News or the newspaper rack at Wawa so far in the back. It was literally, there was a mop bucket in front of it and a mop outside of the mop bucket. So if you needed to get a paper, I was just fixing my coffee. I'm like, is that the newspaper rack over there? And it still had them. They had the New York Daily News, obviously the Philadelphia papers and whatever. But yeah, that's what. But PHLY Daily is not like that at all.
Yeah, you got the paper for free. The point was they wanted you to mop a portion of the floor, and then you got the paper for free.
There you go.
That was the trade.
It was a setup.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. It's like when do you know anybody that ever washed dishes because they didn't have enough money to pay for their food? That was the old thing you'd get, like, oh man, I can't pay for my dinner. All right, get in the back, and then you have to wash all the dishes.
I've only seen that in my life one time, and it was like in 2002 when I was in New York City, and the guy at the restaurant allegedly lost his wallet, and it was an Italian restaurant, and the manager, owner, whatever, came out, and he was speaking Italian, he was yelling. And he told the dude, get up and go in the back. And apparently he got him back there washing dishes, or he got thrown into the dumpster. I don't know what happened, but I know he took him into the back room. So I hope he went back there to wash some dishes to pay for his food because he forgot his wallet.
Well, the point of it is you don't have to pay for this. It's delivered right to your email every day. And it's everything. Videos, tweets that are embedded, anything you need. To subscribe. Rich Hoffman Jr. does a great job with it. AllphlY.com. All right, BG, it always goes by so fast. What do you got? What do you got going on? Cheap seats back or no?
Cheap seats back next week because we're going to be talking about free agency. So we'll be back for a one-off there. Then we're going to come back in April for a couple of days and do the draft. And I'm finally coming back and making my videos. I got some videos in the can to go release, and I got a puppy. So
I saw that. So how old's the puppy?
How old is the puppy?
Yeah.
Or how is the puppy? The puppy's 12 weeks old. His name is Bryce McLeod of the Clan McLeod. I'm going to call him Mac for short. So I can sing Return of the Mac. And
how many dogs do you have now?
Just one. I had 0 dogs. And I was
thinking about getting 2.
Yeah, I was thinking about getting 2. And I did not get 2. But now I want to get 2 just so he leaves me alone and he has somebody to go hang out with. Because I'm the only one here. And it's a boy, and so he's just staying on my feet. My foot fell asleep the other day. I'm like, man, this is worse than having a woman laying on your arm. My arm go numb. Now my foot's going numb. I was like, you need a buddy. Like, get away from me. Leave me alone. So
then you're gonna have 2. Then you're gonna have 2 puppies that want your attention all the time.
Yeah, both my feet will be numb instead of one. I thought about that too. I thought fixing my problem would cause more problems. You're right about that. So
you would double your problem. No, my friend had a Jack Russell who was very rambunctious, and he said, I'm going to get a second one. They can play with each other. Yeah, it didn't work out like that. It was double the chaos.
Yeah. Double the cleanup. So, yeah.
That too. That too.
So, that's my
all right.
Play with the dog.
All right. We're back tomorrow, everybody. Make sure you subscribe to PHLY on YouTube. You can watch this fine program live every day from 8 to 9 a.m., or you can watch whenever. Just simply get over, subscribe, like, listen to the audio podcast. A lot of people are starting to take advantage of this when we mention it. You're in the car, driving home, whatever. You like to listen to podcasts. I love listening to audio. You can download it just wherever you find your podcasts. Philly with John Marks. There you go. All right, everybody have a great one. We'll talk to you tomorrow live at 8 a.m. See ya.